let's judge these banned cards and see if they're worthy of being pulled off the list or not. Hey there, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Can This Card Be Unbanned? So before we get into today's card, let's go over a couple things. The first off is the comments from the last video. I do wait a couple of days before I record this, just as a heads up, so it's actually really good that I do. So anyways, Tenebrae 17 talks about both confiscation and delinquent duo. So with delinquent duo, yes, you are right. It is a mandatory activation for both parts. But does that really... that's like the only downside to that card, especially since it's only 1,000 life points to activate the card entirely. Yeah, I was actually thinking after I made the video, like the life point cost cards to rip out a card from your opponent's hand could be changed to like drop cards from your deck and the graveyard effects be negated, but I still wouldn't believe that would help anything, so whatever. And Tenebrae mentions, but what if you're against danger? Yeah, it's not that great. Still, even if you were able to activate the effect, it's still a great effect regardless. And that's why I mentioned just not bringing it back from the list. Confiscation is another one that was like, still just not bringing it back from the list. And you both lose a card, so it's even overall. Except your opponent does draw a card on their turn. So yeah. But yeah, as I mentioned before, just not bring them back whatsoever. Now, in terms of like looking at your opponent's hand, yeah, true. But then again, as far as I remember, I didn't see the card exchange on the ban list. So let's see. Take a hot second. Bam. Card exchange. Yeah, I don't think it's on. Yeah, card exchange isn't on there, and it gives you perfect opportunity to give you a look at your opponent's hand, but whatever. So, yeah. But anyways, the next thing I wanted to talk about is one of the cards I had mentioned in one of my videos recently, and how it actually has come back already. Well, not really already, but has come back with the new set. So recently I had talked about the card Dandelion. And for those who don't remember what that card does, I'll splash the card on screen. But what they did with Legacy of Destruction is they brought in a new version of it, and it's got the same basic effect, but it was eroded to where it includes the line of text that reads, tokens summoned from this card cannot be used for extra deck monsters. And the main reason for that is, it's just too good to leave the ability to use the extra deck with. So yeah, the only difference is that they upped the amount of tokens from 2 to 3. So yes, and I'll leave a splash of the card on screen for the new card from Legacy. Legacy? From the new set. So yes. Legacy of Destruction. So yeah. Anyways, with that mentioned, let's get into today's cards. And to start off today's cards, let's begin with the first one. And that is Eva. So Eva is a level 1 fairy effect monster, and its effect is, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 2 other light monsters from your field and or graveyard. Add the same number of level 2 or lower light fairy monsters with a different name from your deck to your hand, except Eva. You can only use this effect of Eva once per turn. So, Eva was banned because, well, as far as I can tell by the monster itself, why it was banned is you can basically mill out your deck a little bit, and you can pretty much do this really easily as far as like sending Eva to the graveyard. So yeah. Especially when they brought in, for example, wait, that, you know what? Let's see, when was Eva brought out? Take a hot second. Okay, so Eva was originally brought out in, oh yeah, definitely. So Eva was brought out in 2018 originally, and that was well after the other kinds of summoning had already been introduced to the game. So yeah. Like I mentioned before, it's too easy for Eva to be sent to the graveyard. Hell, even with just Link play, you can link it off for a Link 1 light monster, or just a generic Link 1 monster like Link Kuriboh. And you can get the effect to kick off from there. If there were anything else in terms of why it was banned, I'm not sure. I couldn't find it right off the bat. So yeah. As far as if this card could be added back to the game, I would honestly say it would have to be eroded. But even then, it probably would be still too strong. So I would say no. Yeah, just don't add that back to the game. Alright, so the next card to talk about for today is Fairy Tale Snow. Fairy Tale Snow is a level 4 light spellcaster effect monster, and its effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change it to face-down defense position. During either player's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard. Special summon this card. I thought it included the deck. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, so Fairy Tale Snow had the ability to okay, so wait. Yeah, so its effects weren't hard once per turn, meaning if you had multiple copies of Fairy Tale, or if you used overlay units, yeah, so if you used use any method to get into this graveyard, like frame 1, you could banish stuff and bring it down. So yeah. As far as bringing it back, I highly doubt it. They'd have to hard once per turn any and all of its effects, and even then, I think it would still be too good to be brought back. Don't know. If it could, there'd have to be some interesting change made to Fairy Tale Snow for it to see play again, but not sure. But as far as its original effect, no. Just don't bring it back. It's too much of a hassle reading it. So yeah. Including the changing it to face your opponent's card to face down defense position. Though you could negate the effect since it doesn't have inherent protection. But yeah. Anyways, the next card for today is Fiber Jar. And what is Fiber Jar's effect? Well, okay. So Fiber Jar's effect is Fiber Jar is a level 3 Earth Plant effect monster, and its effect is flip. Each player shuffles all cards from their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck, then draws 5 cards. So this is one of those old early age. So one of those really old game reset cards, and it causes a lot of problems for your opponent if that person doesn't have effect negation. And when I'm not sure when it was actually banned. I don't believe it was banned when they had effect negate or mass amount of effect negating cards. So yeah, that's probably why it was banned. Probably, mind you. Can this card see play again? I would say no. Unless it was eroded to have the effect of this effect can only be used once per duel, and once it's been used, banish the card. But that's just something to throw out there. I'm not sure if that can solve any problems it has. If not, then ignore what I just said. So yeah. But in the original form, I would definitely say no. It is definitely still a problem card, especially in the current format. So yeah. And the last card for today is Elder Entity Nordon. So, Elder Entity Nordon is a level 4 Water Fairy Fusion effect monster. It requires 1 Synchro or Xyz overlay monster, and 1 Synchro effectively it requires 2 Synchro or 2 overlay or 1 of each. Best way to describe it. Alright, and its effect is, when this card is special summoned, you can take 1 level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also, banish it when this card leaves the field. Okay, so when they brought this card out, they did not realize you could instant fusion the shit out of this. Or can you? Is there a limit on instant fusion? Nope. Okay. The only limitation on instant fusion is level 5 or lower. Yeah, so you could instant fusion Elder Entity Nordon, and then summon out the level 4 or lower monster, and then after that, you could fusion into, or just straight up extra deck summon anything you want from there for the cost of 1,000 life points. And that's it. So, for Elder Entity Nordon to be brought back to the game, it would have to be eroded. And the errata would have to be... This card must be fusion summoned using the cards mentioned above. Can't be cheated out with cards like instant fusion. That would be a way to solve this problem, because it already negates the effect of the monster that you bring back from the graveyard. Now, yes, I did mention the extra deck. I would say I would also add in the effect of cards special summoned by this card's effect cannot be attributed for extra deck monsters. That would be interesting. That would force players to think outside the box. Like, okay, I still have this thing in my hand I can summon with. So that'd be one thing. But to make this playable, I would say limit it from not being able to use the extra deck. So yeah. In its original form, I would say no. Errata, I would say 1 copy, maybe 2 at most. Oh, and add on the effect of can only be hard once per turn. Just to mention that. So yeah. Yeah, it would be 1 copy if it was eroded. So yeah. Now, if there was any problems with it beyond what I just mentioned, being able to just cheat the card out and use it for extend play, let me know. So yeah. Anyways, that is going to do it for me today. Next time, we will pick things up with the next card. So until then, goodbye and enjoy your day.